Hello, I'm the Doctor. Welcome to Dr. Geek. Today, we're discussing Series 10, Episode 12, The Doctor Falls. After a brief recap of the horror we watched last week, we are treated to the sight of a beautiful countryside and a small community living under a metal sky. Around the fields, scarecrows are displayed, but on closer inspection, it becomes clear that these are patients, the earliest form of cyber conversion. As night falls, the children cower in fear as the adults arm themselves against an assault by the patients, something that seems to be a common occurrence, for as the sun rises the next day, the people return the patients to their places as scarecrows. As one of the children wanders through the fields, a small spaceship bursts through the floor and up into the air, before crashing back down to the ground. From the wreck, a Cyberman emerges, holding the Doctor. After the opening credits, we are taken to just after the last episode's cliffhanger, as the Doctor has been captured by the Master and Missy. We see that he was attacked by the evil pair, and in the excitement, Nardole managed to escape. The Master and Missy taunt the Doctor, asking him how he's died in the past, and if he has any requests for today. John Sim and Michelle Gomez are simply perfect here. They are both such fantastic actors, and really seem to be enjoying playing off of each other. They dance around the room, subtly flirting with each other, and at the same time, with themselves. The Master asks Missy if she remembers being here, but she cannot. A side effect of the crossing of timelines, neither of them can retain their memories of this meeting. The pair tell the Doctor that they've only kept him alive because they don't know how many regenerations he has left, and they didn't want to be left killing him all night long. He asks them where Bill is, and the Master says that if they tell him that, he would be very upset. So, he tells the Doctor she's right behind him. The Doctor turns to see the Cyberman version of Bill, and his face says it all. He's completely heartbroken. Missy taunts him, saying, there she is, dead, dismembered, fed through a grinder and squeezed into a Cyberman, doomed to spend an eternal afterlife as a biomechanical psycho-zombie. It was hilarious. This is both a great line by Michelle Gomez and a horrific explanation of what it takes to be converted into a Cyberman. The Master taunts that the Doctor left her to rot for 10 years and only missed saving her by 2 short hours. The Doctor asks what happened to the Master since their last meeting and learns that he was cured of the sound of drums on Gallifrey and then left, only to be stranded here. The Doctor guesses correctly that he managed to become the leader of this city before the people got sick of his round face and rebelled against him, forcing him into hiding as Razor. It seems like the Master experiences a similar fate, regardless of where he ends up. I have to say that I was really pleased that we got an explanation as to where the Master has been since the sound of drums, and they didn't just ignore the fact that he had that issue. The Doctor says that the Cybermen were destined to happen, as they do wherever humans are. Mondas, Telos, Planet 14, Marinus, listing the locations of some of his most famous stories against the Cybermen. Like sewage, smartphones, and Donald Trump, they are inevitable, says the Doctor. As an unfortunate American, I really appreciated this line. Suddenly, an alarm begins to go off, and the Master and Missy look confused, questioning what the Doctor has done. He replies, you both should know by now. When you're winning, and I'm in the room, you're missing something. It's revealed that the Doctor took advantage of the commotion when he was attacked by Missy and quickly changed the Cyberman parameters, altering their definition of humanity from 1 heart to 2 hearts. As a result, every Cyberman in the city is heading their way, intent on converting the Time Lords into Cybermen. The Doctor tries to get the Master to release him, saying that the only thing that's ever been known to stop this many Cybermen is himself. But the Master is confident that he can handle it on his own. Knock yourself out, the Doctor replies. At that moment, Missy performs a stunning smack to the Master's head, knocking him out. "Your wish is my command," she quips. "I was on your side the whole time, you silly sausage," she says as she frees the doctor. The doctor still doesn't know if he can trust her, and she almost seems to not know herself. But she says she's of two minds, and one of them is currently unconscious, so the doctor has to take what he can get. Contacting Nardole, he asks him if he's been useful, and he replies in the affirmative, revealing that he's found a small spaceship in the holding bay, the same spaceship from the opening scene. As Missy, the Master, and the Doctor begin to make their escape, a Cyberman gets a hold of the Doctor and electrocutes him. Missy tries to help, but Cyber Bill gets there first, attacking and disabling the Cyberman with her head weapon. However, the Doctor is still incapacitated, and Missy attempts to leave the Doctor behind, claiming the Doctor will just slow them down. Both the Master and Missy try the same line on Nardole. "The Doctor is dead. He told me he's always hated you." But luckily, Nardole's not buying it. The pair try to take control of the ship and fly off on their own, but Cyber Bill is back, and she prevents the ship from leaving by holding on to the ladder. The Doctor sees her and promises that he will fix this. "I will get you back again, I swear." Now, caught up with the opening scene, we learn that the ship has been bursting through floors one by one, but they can no longer continue because their engine has now blown. Nardole asks the little girl for help, and when we next see them, it's 2 weeks later. Bill wakes up in a barn and is no longer a Cyberman. A woman comes in and apologizes for her sleeping arrangements, but tells her it's necessary since she scares the children. She tells Bill that it was the Doctor who put her to sleep, but when Bill asks to see him, she tells her that he's recovering from his injuries and can't come right now. The woman is absolutely terrified of Bill, and Bill can't figure out why, but we can figure it out. A few days later, the little girl comes to visit Bill, telling her that people are scared of her, but she's not. Bill asks her why people are so scared, and she brings Bill a mirror. Upon looking at it, Bill sees a Cyberman looking back at her. "That's not me," she says. "I'm Bill Potts," but it comes out in the cold voice of the Cyberman. Luckily, the Doctor comes in at this moment and consoles the little girl, who apologizes for bringing the mirror. "You were being kind," he says. "There's nothing wrong with kind." The Doctor explains who the Cybermen are to Bill and slowly breaks it to her that she has been turned into one. Luckily, she can't remember the procedure, but she does remember a lot since she was living in that city for 10 years. She refuses to believe that she is a Cyberman because she still sees herself as a human, which is why we do as well. But the Doctor tells her that her mind is so strong, refined by her time living under the monks, where she had learned to hold on to her sense of self, that she has rebelled, and her mind has built a mental wall around herself that is blocking the cyber programming and preventing her from truly seeing what she's become. Bill becomes enraged and yells at the Doctor, but he tells her that anger is a luxury she can no longer afford. She asks him why she can't be angry after waiting for him for 10 years and fires a shot from her headlamp, blasting a hole in the barn. "That's why," says the Doctor. "Because you're a Cyberman." Bill realizes that people will always be afraid of her and begins to cry, which surprises the Doctor since that shouldn't be possible for her anymore. The Master arrives to tell the Doctor that he and Missy have found something, and then begins to taunt Bill with his razor voice, telling her how boring she was for all those years, but that it was all worth it to see her turn into a Cyberman. The emotionless voice of the Cyberman tells the Master that she's not upset, which seems to dampen his mood, assuming the cyber programming has prevented him from a truly perfect win by erasing her memories. But it's revealed that Bill is actually heartbroken. Her only friend not only betrayed her, but hated her at the same time. They really pile on the punishment for Bill in this episode, and it's truly heartbreaking to watch. As the Master leads the way towards what he has found, Bill asks why the children are all kept together in this small town. The doctor tells her it's because the Cybermen target children due to the fact that they are easier to convert from there being less material to throw away afterwards. The doctor doubles over in pain, and we see some regeneration energy escape from his hand. Bill asks him what's happening, but the doctor ignores her and continues walking with a stick for support. Bill asks the doctor if he was right when he told her that he could get her out of her situation, and the doctor admits that he was in fact wrong. Bill can feel the programming slowly taking her over, and she tells the doctor she doesn't want to live if she can't be herself anymore, and she doesn't think that that's possible. The doctor tells her that a Cyberman crying also isn't possible, and where there's tears, there's hope. The Master and Missy reveal that they have found the elevators hidden behind a hologram in the forest, and the doctor plans to use these to evacuate everyone up 2 floors to 505. However, Missy calls the elevator, not realizing that it would come from below and might not be empty. The doctor, Missy, and the Master ready their respective devices, but Cyber Bill steps in front, ready to confront head-on whatever is waiting in the elevator. As the doors open, a new, more advanced Cyberman steps out, and the 4 of them team up to take it down, with the Master repeatedly yelling, "Kill it! Kill it! Kill it!" like someone frightened by a spider. In the short time since they have been on a higher floor, many more years have gone by on the bottom due to the time dilation, and the Cybermen are evolving at a very fast rate. At this point, they don't have time to get up to the TARDIS, since in the time it would take to get up the elevator, the Cybermen will have advanced generations. Their only hope is to escape a short distance and launch an all-out attack from here. The townspeople have been busy with Nardole, fortifying their homes, and Nardole has used some tech trickery to upgrade their weapons for the Cybermen's armor. Because the floor is used for farming, the ground is filled with fuel lines, which he can use the weapons to pinpoint small areas for explosions. As a siren sounds, which the doctor says means the Cybermen are on their way, the people get ready for an all-out attack. The Cybermen don't have fear, he says, but they know how to use it. Missy asks the Master why they can't just go back to the bottom floor and take the Master's TARDIS, which surely must still be on the ship. The Master tells her that being so close to the black hole blew his dematerialization circuit, and his TARDIS is now useless. But Missy reveals that once in her past, a crazy woman approached her and made her swear to always carry an extra dematerialization circuit with her, and she pulls one from her pocket. Gotta love time travel. The 2 tell the doctor they will be leaving, and they make fun of him for trying to save people when he knows that they have no chance. The doctor tells them he does it because it's the right thing to do. He says it's right, decent, and above all, it's kind, and he begs them to join him in his mission. But unfortunately, the Master is just too evil, and he and Missy make their exit, with Missy thanking the doctor for at least trying. After a quick battle with the humans using their high-powered weapons to win the first wave, the doctor tells the humans that the Cybermen will now switch their priorities from a mercy mission with a goal to convert them to a military operation with the goal to eliminate them. They use the lull in action to evacuate the children, and the doctor asks Nardole to lead the humans to safety. Nardole refuses, saying he won't leave the doctor. Plus, he's afraid that the doctor's plan is to blow up the entire floor while he's still on it, once the humans are safely away. The doctor doesn't deny this, but tells Nardole that one of them has to go with the humans to protect them, and it needs to be the stronger of the 2 of them. Nardole realizes the immense compliment the doctor has just given him, and accepts that this will really be goodbye. Bill decides to join the doctor as well, realizing that she has nothing else to live for anyways, and the doctor allows her to accompany him. Nardole says his goodbyes to both Bill and the doctor, saying he can't find the words for the occasion, and knows that he never will. After a full season with Nardole, he really showed his merits as a companion, and will be very sorely missed, as everyone on this team will be. This was a perfect send-off for Nardol's character, and it was very moving. As Missy and the Master approach the elevators, Missy asks him to dance with her one more time, which he reluctantly agrees to. As they embrace, Missy tells him that she loved being him, every second of it, how he burned like a whole screaming world on fire. She tells him she will always miss him, and she stabs him in the stomach. He asks her why she did it, and she tells him that it's because the doctor is right, and that it's time to stand with him. The Master is disgusted and says he will never stand with the doctor, as Missy smiles and walks away. However, the Master gets the last laugh as he shoots Missy in the back, and she falls to the ground. "Don't even bother trying to regenerate. You got the full blast," says the Master. It's the perfect ending for their character. In the end, they shoot each other in the back. As the Master descends in the elevator, laughing to himself, we know that he will go on to regenerate into Missy. But what becomes of Missy? Sadly, we do not get to see her regeneration, or lack thereof, which leaves the future open for the character of the Master. The Doctor and Bill decide to take opposite sides of the attack, and say a quick goodbye before parting. Without hope, without witness, without reward, says the Doctor. And the music here is really cool as the Doctor prepares for his final assault against the Cybermen. In the next scene, the Doctor runs through a field of Cybermen, jumping over logs and triggering explosions all over the place with his sonic screwdriver. This shot is brilliant, and you can really tell that Peter is having the time of his life as he makes his way through the army. As he destroys them, he mentions all of the times in the past that he's defeated the Cybermen. Telos, Planet 14, Canary Wharf. It's a great moment, and a great send-off for Series 10. As one of the Cybermen shoot him in the back, the Doctor spins and declares, "Hello, I'm the Doctor." "Doctors are not required," answers the Cyberman, shooting him back. As the Doctor collects himself, he answers, "No, I'm not a doctor, I'm the Doctor. The original, you might say." I was grinning ear to ear in this scene, as this is a callback to the famous line from Tom Baker's first story, Robot. The Doctor is shot once more, and begins to regenerate, but seems to talk himself down, telling him to let it go. At that moment, he triggers one last explosion with his sonic, and the entire floor erupts in fire. As the Doctor lays in the rubble of the defeated Cybermen, he is upset that there are no stars in the sky, as he hoped there would be stars. The Cyberbill walks through the desolation and finds the body of the Doctor, weeping over it, as we do the same at home. On the above solar farm, Nardole is waiting by the elevators for his friends, but to no avail. The children try to cheer him up, saying his friends may still be coming, but he knows the truth, and walks away from the elevator to confront his new challenges of keeping the humans safe. As Bill cries over the Doctor, the star-eyed girl from the first episode of this series, Heather, appears in a puddle to help Bill. In an instant, Bill is standing next to her former Cyberman suit, and it falls to the ground lifeless. "Am I dead?" she asks Heather, as she pulls Bill in for a passionate kiss. "Did that feel dead?" replies Heather. Bill is stunned. "You're like me now," explains Heather. "It's just a different kind of living." Bill asks Heather how she found her, and she tells Bill that she left Bill her tears, and always knew when she was crying them. This was a really nice tie-in to the first episode of the series, and I'm glad that it paid off in the end. The two girls return the Doctor to his TARDIS, and Bill asks Heather if this means she's no longer human. Heather tells Bill that it's all just atoms, and she can arrange them in any way she likes. She can bring Bill back to Earth, where she can make chips and live her life, if that's what she wants. Or she can take Bill with her as she travels the universe. The choice is easy, and Bill says goodbye to the Doctor, hoping to see him again. Stepping out of the TARDIS hand in hand with Heather, ready to take on whatever comes their way. The Doctor sees all of his past companions saying his name in a very moving montage, before he wakes up with his famous "just woke up from being passed out" line, "The Sontarans are perverting the course of history!" Another reference to the Tom Baker story, Robot. Before going through a few more old lines like, "I don't want to go," and "when the Doctor was me," he starts to regenerate, but actively fights it, stating he's tired of changing and he can't keep on being someone else. This reluctance to regenerate really surprised me, as it doesn't really seem to jive with his character. But considering the fact that the Doctor is on his second set of regenerations now, he has changed more than any normal Time Lord ever would have. So I'm sure there's probably a lot of clarity that he's gained throughout his regenerations that he does not yet want to give up. This thought process also echoes what Bill said earlier, when she told him that she didn't want to keep on living if she couldn't be herself anymore. The Doctor is tired of giving up a piece of himself every time he changes, and he wants to be done with it all. After the TARDIS materializes somewhere, the Doctor angrily asks where he's been taken, and steps out of the TARDIS as the cloister bell sounds, entering the snowy world we saw at the beginning of the previous episode. As the Doctor screams no at his imminent regeneration, he puts out his energy in the snow and declares that he will not change. In that moment, someone approaches from the distance and asks who's there. "I'm the Doctor," says the Doctor, confused at who's coming near. "You may be the Doctor," replies the man, "but I am the Doctor. The original, you might say. The first Doctor has just met the 12th Doctor, and we are left to dwell on that for the next 6 months while we wait for the Christmas episode." So, wow, what a crazy finale that was. As for what I liked, the highlight of the episode was the charisma between the Master and Missy. While Missy is always a joy to watch, she kind of played back this episode to let the Master shine in his first full return. John Sim really took things to another level with his performance, and brought a level of malevolence back to his incarnation of the Time Lord. When he was mocking Bill for becoming a Cyberman, I really wanted to just punch him right in the face. It's a shame that both of their characters had to end their storylines in this episode, and we didn't even get to see a regeneration by either of them. But I'm confident that we haven't seen the last of the Master, and I'm excited to see what becomes of his character. Speaking of Bill, Pearl Mackie once again delivers a standout performance this episode to cap off her character's arc and to say goodbye to the Doctor Who franchise. I have to say, I'm really disappointed to see her go after such a short tenure, and I'm really not a fan of having no connection between Doctors. In the whole series, only 4 Doctors have started their tenures without a crossover companion, and one of those was the TV movie. The others were the change to color from black and white, and the reboot of the show in 2005. Just because it worked well with the 11th hour does not mean that that should become the new norm. Pearl Mackie did a great job showing her utter heartbreak at her situation this episode, and I'm really glad they managed to both have her be a Cyberman, but also act as herself by using that mental block effectively. There's not too much more to say about her performance here, as she's shown us all series long that she is a fantastic actress. The end of her storyline wasn't perfect, but we'll get to that in a moment. As for Nardole, I really liked the send-off they gave his character, recognizing that his contributions to the team matched even the Doctor's, and that his strength was needed to guide the humans to safety. I've always been a fan of companion exits that involve them leaving to help other people, I think we can all agree that the Doctor's companions are always great universal ambassadors, and I'd much rather see them do something like that rather than leave for a boy or because they got too overwhelmed or put off by their experiences in the TARDIS. Peter Capaldi delivered a powerful performance to end his final series, especially at the end when his character made his last stand, and you could really see the joy on Peter's face as he vanquished his most beloved foe. With the send-off of 4 characters in this episode, and the wrapping up of all the storylines from the series, there wasn't much room for Peter to shine in this episode, but I'm positive that the Christmas episode will really bring his amazing tenure to the end it deserves. As for what I didn't like, as usual with the Cybermen, in the second half of this story, they really lose a lot of their menace as a threat. I reiterate my criticism from last week that I would have preferred a story on Mondas, especially considering that it was revealed in this episode that the Master had a large hand in leading this society towards becoming Cybermen. And at the very least, I would have liked them to stick with the Mondas design rather than having them evolve into the more modern versions that we've already become used to. At the same time, I like how they played with the time dilation, so I guess I can't complain too much about that evolution. As for how Bill's story ended, I didn't hate it, and I actually liked how it was carried over from the very first episode of the series. But I wish that Bill had actually developed a relationship with this girl before she was forced to travel the universe with her. I understand that Bill had a crush on Heather, but they barely had more than 2 conversations before she was taken by the space oil in the pilot. And they kind of seemed to be trying to play it off like the 2 girls were star-crossed lovers. Mind the pun. In the end, though, I was happy that Bill got a somewhat happy ending, even if her goodbye with the Doctor wasn't very powerful. Lastly, as I said before, while I understand the Doctor's reluctance to regenerate, given how many times he's had to do it now, I didn't feel like it was consistent with his character thus far, and I would have liked to see him embrace his upcoming regeneration. I also wish we had a definitive moment of when he received his death blow, as it seems like he was regenerating from almost the very beginning of this episode, and just got pretty beat up for the duration of it. I'd like to decide that it was when the Cyberman grabbed him before he could get on the spaceship, but who really knows? Overall, I thought this was one of the best finales in New Who history, as all of the storylines were wrapped up nicely, including some we didn't even realize we needed wrapping up, like the Master and Heather, and the companions of Series 10 made their exits from the TARDIS in a graceful and dignified manner. The threat was defeated, and the cliffhanger for the Christmas episode has us drooling. I mean, a multi-Master story followed by a multi-Doctor story, and with the first Doctor as well? This is going to be a fantastic episode, and I can't wait to be with you all when it comes out. For an excellent second half to a great story, and for wrapping up Series 10 in one of the best finales of New Who, I give The Doctor Falls 9 Cybermen out of 10. So, that was my review of Series 10, Episode 12. Be sure to like and subscribe for more reviews and Doctor Who news every week. On the side, you can find my review for Series 10, Episode 11, World Enough and Time, so check that out if you haven't already. Also, I just did a Doctor Who discussion on the Mondasian Cybermen, so be sure to watch that for an in-depth look at the 10th planet and some great clips from the Hartnell era. As always, thank you for being my companions on this journey today. I'm the Doctor. Bye for now.